Okay, well great. So we're going to start with some cloud facts, just to kind of give you an idea of where the industry is going for communications and what kind of impact that cloud really has on our industry today and a lot of your businesses. So 70% of businesses today have already reported cost savings, oftentimes significant with moving to the cloud. And 36% of those companies reinvest that money into customer service activities, providing a higher level of service for their customers. So this is a really important statistic, this 36%. Because cloud benefits are not new, right? I mean, especially for a lot of people in this group, it's not a new thing. We have, you've probably heard a lot of them, and we're going to go over a lot of the big picture benefits of cloud computing and cloud phone systems. So none of that is new. One of the ones that's often overlooked is, we all know about how cloud can really help reduce administration costs, right, and IT costs. Well, what is often overlooked is sometimes reducing that IT cost is not cutting it altogether, right? It's taking that same IT cost that you have and reprioritizing it for something else, something that actually makes you money. So instead of having somebody on staff that's going to just constantly be in charge of managing the phone system and making moves, adds, and changes, somebody else can do that for you, a provider, and now your IT staff can go and build web portals or something that's actually going to be revenue generating for that company. So that's an often overlooked thing. It's not just about cutting tech dollars, but it's also about freeing up tech dollars to do other things. All right, so 30% of brute force attacks are 30% less likely in cloud data center than in on-premise data centers, mainly because most cloud vendors will do a significantly better job protecting their network than what local networks will do. So if you have prem systems, they won't have this thing's gone again. They won't do the due diligence and pay give the investment that you need in order to protect your system as much as a vendor would who's supporting more than one client. 68% of businesses under 20 employees have already adopted cloud services. So it's not only is it growing in a new technology, but it's here. And of course, this isn't necessarily just phone systems. This is email servers and CRM systems and all cloud services involved. 53% of enterprise companies, 500 to 1,000 employees report cloud adoption. So this is a big enterprise is a big question when it comes to cloud, because a lot of enterprise companies, if you look at the total cost of ownership of a cloud phone system, which the big difference in cost between a cloud phone system and a prem system is when do you pay, right? If I have a prem system, I typically pay all of my money or a vast majority of my money up front as an enterprise or as a CapEx expense, whereas with a cloud system, it's all operating expense. So it's on a totally different budget for a lot of people than it has been in the past. So people are much more likely they can gain a lot of tax benefits off of an operating expense that they couldn't off a CapEx expense, and enterprises are starting to take advantage of this. It used to be, well, enterprise companies are never going to do it because the total cost of ownership of a cloud system over a 5-year period is ridiculous. You could have bought 3 or 4 or 5 prem systems by the time you end up paying for a cloud system over 5 years. But what that doesn't take into consideration is how much money did you spend on that IT, where could you reprioritize that IT work and make more money. So there's a lot more factors involved than just on the surface of total cost of ownership for cloud. 14% of companies downsize their IT department after implementing cloud solutions. So that goes to show that people are not getting cloud and completely eliminating the IT or downsizing the department as a whole. They're moving that money and doing other things with it. All right, so let's talk about top benefits in the cloud. So the number one that you're going to have is cost savings, and no need for in-house IT support, no holding costs for equipment, power savings, and reduced capital expenses. So this is probably not new to a lot of you, but it needs to be said, you can save a lot of money from cloud services. Feature rich. So cloud is caught up with on-premises. We're going to talk about phone systems now. So cloud is really caught up with on-premise systems when it comes to phone systems. There was a time 3, 4, 5 years ago where if you were going to get a cloud system, you were going to get phone system light, right? You were going to get the pared down version. You weren't going to get queuing and call center capability. You probably weren't going to get mobility applications and switchboards and those kind of things. You were going to get dial tone and maybe a few other of the standard phone features. Well, that has really changed. People like us with Switchvox Cloud are able to take a fully featured enterprise-ready phone system and put that same system in the cloud. And we'll talk more about that as we move on. Simple, low-cost startup. So little or no capital expense to get a cloud system started. So if I'm a business looking to start up and I don't have a lot of capital expense, or I don't have the capital funding to get started, I can do so with cloud. Simple physical installation. All you're having to do as a user is put phones on your desk. You want to make sure your network's right. A lot of times you have a vendor that can help you out with that, but you're not using servers, the infrastructure is much more simple. Rental phones. So one of the cool things that we can do at Digium is rent phones to people. We have Digium Phones that are fantastic. You're going to learn a lot about Digium Phones with the next session with Sean, who's going to talk about Digium Phones. But we can rent those phones as well. So instead of what is a major part of a phone system cost is the actual handsets. So how about putting that on your operating expense budget and paying monthly for those instead of that large capital expense up front. Simple training and then easy configuration we've kind of already covered. Reliability, you get to take advantage of world-class data centers, and you have 4 and 5 nines available for service times. All right, so let's talk about OpEx model. So operating expense model I kind of mentioned as well has some tax benefits to it that CapEx does not. So you get to write it off as a business expense. Now you get to write off your phone system as that expense. You have no need for significant upfront investment. Highly sought after cost model for CIOs and CFOs. Any CFOs in the building, financial people? No, it's probably good. But CFOs they love OpEx, so they want to take advantage of the tax benefits. They want to be able to route that. They don't want to have to go out and raise money for capital expense and have to borrow that money or have to spend the cash that they could spend on revenue generating things. They see it as your phone system as a cost, just as the same way as your light bill and your rent. It's becoming that same process that it never used to be. Disaster recovery is a big one. So in the prem world, for you guys that sell it or if you guys have purchased a phone system, disaster recovery is very complicated and very expensive to get certain levels of disaster recovery or certain levels of resiliency or redundancy. With cloud, a lot of that is built in. You don't have that phone system living on your location, so if you have a hurricane or a tornado or something were to happen to your physical location, your phone system still works. You still get calls to your cell phone. You can still maintain business even though something happens. We had this at Digium where we were out of power for 5 days and we were able to maintain our systems completely because we had the resiliency built in. All right. Scalability and adaption. So it's easy to adapt to changing economic conditions. And when I say economic conditions, I'm not talking about just growth. So growth is something we all want to do, and that's ideal, of course. And if you do want to grow with cloud systems, if you need to add a user, you call up an added user. It's really easy. You can even rent phones, or you can buy them, whatever you want to do. But you just add them incrementally. With prem system, it's not that easy. With also going backwards. So say you're not growing, maybe you're downsizing, maybe you're consolidating things and you need to kind of back off. Well, with your prem system, you buy 400 phones, you have 400 phones. With a cloud system, if you have 400 and you need to scale back to 300, you just only pay for 300. So you only pay for what you use. And you never get stuck with unwanted equipment or systems. Multi-site remote worker solutions. For those of you who deployed phone systems or that use them, multi-site deployments are sometimes very complex, sometimes very complicated, and sometimes don't work really well. Thankfully with Asterisk, because it makes a lot of that really easy, and with Switchvox Cloud, multi-site deployment is really simple. You have multiple sites, they can all be on the same system, they can all talk as if they're all together, even though geographically they're distributed all over the place. Always up to date. So you always have the latest and greatest that's on the system. So if you, with a prem system, of course, with Switchvox, if we do offer those releases as we get them, if you're current on support, you get them. If you're not, you're not, or you don't get them. But if you, with a cloud system, everything happens for you automatically. You don't have to worry about setting, network maintenance windows to get all of that done. We would handle all of that for you. You would come to work leave work on a Friday and come to work on Monday and have all new features, the latest and greatest that's out there, and you wouldn't have to worry about the back end of what happened. Okay, So I'm sorry I'm going really fast, just have a lot to cover, but we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about if I'm a reseller. So if I resell systems, why is cloud beneficial to you? Recurring revenue. So recurring revenue is a great thing. It is much better to sell something, not worry about it anymore, and then once a month go to the mailbox and get a check for that same thing in perpetuity, right? So that is ideal. So we want to, and from an investment standpoint for your company, recurring revenue is much more valuable to investors than standard capital money up front. So recurring revenue is a great thing. Zero or light touch maintenance. So provider does the heavy lifting on the back end. You can still be a part of it and you can still offer your services on top of it, but the workload on the back is less than what it would be with a prem system. So you get all the benefits of all that revenue over a longer period of time, but you don't have to do as much work to maintain it. Simple startup, kind of the same benefits that we had on the end user level. You get that as on the partner level. You have, except now you're just having to do less work than you did before. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Switchvox Cloud. So Digium in 2006 was, still at the same time the Asterisk company and was supporting Asterisk just as we do today, and offered interface cards, and that was about it, and a little bit of support for Asterisk. So in 2007, Digium purchased a company called 4Loop, which was the company that made Switchvox. And so from that day, from 2007 to today, Switchvox has been extremely successful because we are the Asterisk commercial phone system. When people want an Asterisk-based commercial phone system, we are at the top of that list. So for people who don't want something that's custom configured or are a little nervous about open source, maybe they like the idea of open source, that's great, it can keep my costs down, but I really want something that's supported. For those options, Switchvox is a great option for you. It's great for people we have many of our partners out there in the world today that sell both Asterisk systems and Switchvox. They can coexist. So they have their Asterisk implementation for, a portion of their customer base that are okay with open source, that really like it, they want the cost savings, the customization, and that's great. But for the businesses that are just a little nervous about it and would rather have something that's commercial and are willing to spend a little bit of money, not a ton more money, but a little bit more, Switchvox is a great option for them. So let's talk a little bit about Switchvox and Switchvox Cloud. So our family of Switchvox appliances today is kind of broken up into Switchvox is broken up into three ways. We have Switchvox Cloud, we have Switchvox on-premises, and we have Switchvox Mobile. So we started with just Switchvox on-premises. We offer and still offer appliances for people that would like an on-premise implementation. On-premises absolutely has its place in the market for people who want custom work, for people who want to control their network, people that want to control the phone system. They have the people that can manage it and they just want to do it on their own. It's still a viable application for on-premises, of course. And then we have cloud, and a big advantage that we have for cloud is that we can put the same user experience on the cloud as we can on the prem. So we can offer the same across platform. So you don't get something different. When some of the competitors that we've had, whenever they've launched a cloud system, they would have a completely different brand would run it, or they'd have the interface would be completely different. You'd have somebody else's software on one platform as it was on the other. Well, with Switchvox, you get everything. And you get the exact same feature set as you always were used to with Switchvox, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And then we have Switchvox for mobile. So mobile is huge, of course. I'm sure we all use it. We all have probably spent more time on our cell phones today than we've had talking to people. So we have Switchvox Mobile available that gives you powerful tools on your mobile phone, and we'll talk about that here in just a second as well. All right, so one of the big benefits of Switchvox in general, including Switchvox Cloud, is that we are one of the only providers that offers not only many products in one, but all features included. So you have a user on Switchvox or Switchvox Cloud, they get access to everything. We don't nickel and dime. You can say, oh, you want call center features? That'll be another $10 or $15 a month. Oh, you want DID or caller ID to pass through? That'll be $5 a month. Oh, you want IVRs, advanced IVRs? That'll be $5 a month. So by the time they're done, their bill, the advertised price was $24.99. It's now $59.99 for the same service that they can get with us. So all features are included. So Switchvox Cloud Features is to kind of give you an overview. From a services standpoint, we have unlimited and metered plans. We have, that gives you unlimited minutes, local and long distance for unlimited plans, toll-free service, local DID numbers, E911, HD voice is all 100% included. From a system feature standpoint, we have the user switchboard, which is what this is here, which is a web-based application that allows people to click to dial and to click to transfer and see presence information that people are on the phone, and queue statistics. If I want to get what agents I have, how long have they been on the phone, who they're talking to. If I want to have monitoring or listen in or whisper so I can listen in and talk to my employee without the customer hearing. All of that integration is all tied into the switchboard, and it's available in any web browser, and anybody can access it on switchboard. Everybody gets one, so you don't have to worry about, well, I know my receptionist needs it, but I'm not sure this person needs it. I don't know how many to pay for. Everybody gets it. If you want it, use it. If not, you don't have to use it. You just turn it off. Conference calling, music on hold, call queues, all the major features that you would be used to in a big-time phone system, Switchvox Cloud has it included. All right, so let's talk about migration for a second. One of the cool things that we can do, because we are the same platform across cloud and prem, is that we can migrate easily. So say you're a prem customer and you like Switchvox Prem, that's where you want to start. And 5 years from now you say, wow, cloud is really where it's at. I want to move to operating expense. I want to take advantage of that. I can migrate from my prem system to the cloud. You take the last backup, put it up in the cloud, and you're back up and running in minutes. You don't have to redeploy the system. You don't have to retrain people. It's the same features. Everything goes across, so it makes it really easy. Say you want to do it the other way. I want to get started with Switchvox Cloud. I'm starting small, I grow big, now I want control, now I want to have it. I can migrate from the cloud to the prem. I just buy an appliance and I'm on prem. So you can migrate back and forth really easily. You can also have a hybrid of the two. So if I wanted to have prem at one site and I wanted to have cloud at some other sites, I can do that. So think about a gas station franchise that probably has a corporate office of a couple hundred people, but then has hundreds of gas stations everywhere. Think about the nightmare deployment that you'd have if you did that on-prem, and the cost. You'd have to have, gateways and routers and things, or gateways and all kinds of communications equipment at all these remote sites that had one phone in them or two phones. So it would be very difficult and very expensive for the customer. Whereas with a hybrid solution, you can have a prem system at the big location, but at all these remote sites, you put cloud there. And with Switchvox, you can peer them all together, and they look as one big system. So even though you're having two different delivery models, you can still combine them together. All right, Switchvox Mobility. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but when you hear from Sean in just a few minutes, he's going to talk about all the cool things about Digium Phones. Well, the cool thing about our mobile application is we take the software that's on those phones and all the really cool things you can do, and we put them on our mobile phones. So all the power that you would have with your Digium phone, calling, transferring, conferencing, status changes, you get access to your favorites to see not only who all my contacts, but are they on the phone, what's their status. I get all that information is on the mobile device. So we're really excited about Switchvox Mobile, is the mobile soft phone. It was launched last year, and it's been very, very successful. IVRs, of course, interactive voice response, all the power that if you're used to what you can do with Asterisk with IVRs, you can do all of that with Switchvox. The switchboard, this is our user productivity tool, all that click to dial and interface for a user. This is the new version of it. So you get interaction with Google Maps, you get all of your queue statistics, everything in one place, and you get all of that information in real time. Extend your system with APIs, so the ability to integrate. A lot of you guys that do Asterisk, integrations are a big part of that. So you can do a lot of those integrations with Switchvox as well. Collaboration, being able to chat, instant message, video call, audio conference, all of that is 100% included for every user in the system. Digium Phones, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because you're going to get a lot of this from Sean, but we do have 4 different models of Digium Phone today. We have D40, D45, 50, and 70. 70 is our executive or receptionist phone. D50 is a step down from that with 10 contacts as opposed to 100 in the sidecar. You have D45 and D40 are the same phone, except this is a gigabit phone, and that's a standard 10100 phone. So we have a model for everybody with our phones. From a software standpoint, you can provision, you'll see with Sean, you can provision a phone in about 60 seconds. It's really easy. Smart BLFs, the ability to see that people are on the phone. They light up in different colors depending on what's happening with somebody. Voicemail screening, so I can listen to voicemails. If I want to pick it up during the middle of the voicemail, I can interrupt it and start talking to that person, as well as get visual voicemail on the phone. Contacts app, call queues app, so I can see all my queue statistics on the phone, and then a status app as well. Phone App Engine allows you to do JavaScript development on the phone. So if you want to do your integration and actually have that integration tied to the phone, you can. We have a school district in the Seattle area that uses Switchvox and has done integration with their phones, and they've tied into their emergency notification system. So anytime they get an emergency in the phone or for the school, their phones go ballistic. They make all kinds of noise. They light up in all different colors. The actual message scrolls across the screen. So very cool integration. All right, so for those of you who are interested in pricing, we have actually 3 different pricing models for Switchvox Cloud, or 3 different tiers for unlimited. We have month-to-month pricing, which starts at $35 per month. We have 1-year option, which is $33 per month for a contract, and then $29 per user per month for 3-year contract. We do not have the 2-year option any longer. And then again, that includes unlimited minutes, local and long distance. One note, Switchvox Cloud today is US 48 only. We do have some plans for expansion long term, but as of today, it's US 48 only. We also have Switchvox Cloud metered service, which takes the same features as Switchvox Cloud, but allows you to pay a little differently. Maybe you have a really low budget and I don't have enough money to spend $29 or $35 per month per user, and I want to save money. You can do that with Switchvox metered. Maybe I have dynamic phone usage. Maybe I'm really like a accounting firm. I'm really busy between January and May, but I'm not busy at all between June and December. I want something that's a little more dynamic as far as how I pay. Well, now you can do it metered. So you pay a starting cost of $12.99 per month, or depending on which contract terms you start, and then you just pay per minute. So if that's a cheaper option for you, we have that option as well. So Digium SIP Trunking. Last year we launched Digium SIP Trunking. So if you're looking for a SIP provider, we have that through Digium Cloud Services as well. So if you'd like pure voice over IP, you can do that. We have the same company that develops Asterisk is developing the SIP trunking method. So it works fantastically well with Asterisk systems and with Switchvox Prem. But it's open SIP, so if you want to use it with anybody, it'll work. Free PBX, Elastics, ShoreTel, whoever you want to use it with, you can use Digium SIP services. Here's a couple of the features for inbound and outbound calling, unlimited minutes, local and long distance. We have a metered and a flat rate. So we have the ability to, kind of similar to what we did with Switchvox Cloud for our different pricing options, we do with SIP trunking as well. So we have a metered option for people who have really dynamic usage, and then we have a channelized option, or so you pay unlimited minutes per concurrent call option as well. All right, and the last thing we're going to talk about today is Switchvox Rescue. So Switchvox Rescue is a business continuity product that we offer through the cloud. And what it does is it gives people the option, our Switchvox Prem users, the ability to have a resiliency option with Switchvox for a low monthly payment. So it takes advantage of cloud technology, and it gives our Switchvox users the ability to take advantage of cloud technology for that resiliency. And so the way that it works is you have a Switchvox system, but you also have a Digium SIP trunk available, and you've paid for Switchvox Rescue. If you have some sort of event happen, you have a power outage, you have a fire, you have something were to happen to the physical place, we take a nightly backup of your system. And when I say backup, it's basically the basic configuration of that system nightly. And we put it in the cloud. And if you were to have that issue, you call us up, you say, hey, I'm down, I don't have any connectivity. We take that same backup, we apply it to one of our cloud instances, and we get you going immediately. We can get you going in under 10 minutes back up, and you can start routing all of your calls now over the cloud to cell phones or to some other device in your system. So now you're taking advantage of your backup, but it's in the cloud. It's $45 per month for the system, for Switchvox Rescue. So if you take that amount and you compare it to what it costs for resiliency for some of these commercial systems, you have to buy completely backup hardware a lot of times, or second systems to get the same kind of resiliency that you're going to get here. And then when you have this puts you in an emergency state with your system, and then once you get back up and running, you can go back to your main production unit. So use cases, it's great for if you have fire or power loss, weather events, and it provides a temporary recovery from disaster. Pricing again is $45 per month per system. So, all right. A couple limitations. You previously recorded voicemails, recorded calls are not available. You just think of it as an emergency backup, so you have the basics to get going while you get your main system back up and running. All right, so for more information about all of Digium's products, whether that's the Switchvox side or the Asterisk side, we do for Asterisk deployments, we have our interface cards, we have gateways, we have Asterisk support, we have lots of things to help support you from an Asterisk deployment side as well. Just head to digium.com/Switchvox to get you all the Switchvox information, and also SIP trunking and rescue as well. All right. That is it. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer for anybody at all? Yes, ma'am, in the front. Digium is exhibiting here today. We do have, I think it opens at 5 o'clock today, so we'd love to see you at the booth. I think it's right across the way. We have our start. So come and see us. We'd love to talk to you. We have demonstrations of everything. We can show you everything in the booth and show you the phones and show you the system and get you a good feel for it. Any other questions about any of the products or cloud in general? Anything I can answer for you guys? All right. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you. And we would love to see you again in the booth at 5 o'clock today. Whoa.
Quick. So this cloud service, it's really for telephony services?
Yeah. So Digium's cloud services are for telephony. So yeah, we have the business phone system, and then we have the trunking or the connectivity to connect to your phone system to allow you to make calls. Yeah, that's the business that Digium is in, is phone systems and Asterisk deployments that a lot of people are here for as well for them. Yep.
No, I just didn't know that Digium had a cloud service until today.
Yeah, so we launched Digium Cloud Services a couple of years ago. And have really ramped up a lot of the marketing activity to make it much more available today. It have a lot of great features and programs and systems to make sign up and onboarding much easier and better today than it was. Yeah, you have a question?
The termination and the DIDs are just for the United States or another different countries also?
So we have the DIDs. We do have international calling available, but the system and the billing and everything has to be located in the U.S. So your main point of presence has to be U.S. But you can't. We do have international calling rates, so you can dial out internationally. Yes. Target size. So we have Switchvox Cloud deployments today of all sizes. I think John, you have to help me out. John is in our in Atlanta in our Digium Cloud Services team. I think we have a couple hundred or so in one deployment on Switchvox Cloud today, and then they go down to as low as 5. So, but realistically, I would say the target customer is anywhere between 5 and 50 or 60 is probably the target. Anything more than that, the cost has to be strongly determined, but that's probably the sweet spot for cloud services today.
The factors of what's involved and what's being utilized, the amount of call recording and confirmed calls, those type of applications.
Yeah, if you have something bigger than that, that does not mean we can't. We'd love to talk to you about it and figure out what usage you guys have, and we could probably support it for sure. All right. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Thank you guys. I guess is Sean here today? I don't see Sean, so if you guys want to take just a couple minute break, and then we'll get set up for Sean up front. Thank you guys.